You want the truth quickly. Suffering isn't happening to you. You're doing it. Pain is raw, immediate, a signal. Suffering is the story you strap onto it. This shouldn't be happening. That means my life is broken. And now the fire spreads. Stop pretending you don't know the difference. A cut on the hand is pain. 3 hours of inner courtroom drama is suffering. You wrote the script. You cast the judge. You play the victim. Then you call the play reality. Listen carefully. Resistance multiplies what it touches. Push against a thought and you feed it. Clench against a feeling and you freeze it in place. You don't have a storm. You are manufacturing weather. Let go or be dragged. You've heard it. Here's the version nobody likes. You don't practice letting go. You notice there's nothing to hold. Open your fist. See the air. It was always air. You want music to heal you. Then stop grabbing one note. That's how you kill a symphony. Life is phrase and rest, rise and fall, sound and silence. Clutch any part and you lose the whole. Your calm feels fake because it is. You curated it. You posted it. You tried to domesticate chaos with posture and quotes. That is not peace, that is PR. Here is the audit. How many minutes today did you spend tightening against what is? How many against what was? How many against what might be? Count honestly. That's your suffering bill. Muddy water clears when left alone. You keep stirring because stillness terrifies the ego. It would rather drown in effort than float in reality. Let the silt drop. Let the picture return on its own. No, do not help. You've helped enough. You keep asking for a method, a hack, a mantra, a button to push. The asker is the knot. If the grabber tries to let go, the grab tightens. That's why your relaxing exhausts you. So try this. Don't fix the feeling. Name nothing. Measure nothing. Put your attention on the sensations. Pressure, heat, vibration, breath. Stay until the wave finishes itself. No commentary, no pity, no heroism. Just weather passing through sky. You say, but it comes back, miss. Of course it does. Waves return. Wind returns. Night returns. You weren't hired to manage the ocean. You were invited to be water. The child knows this. Falls, cries, runs again. Why no suffering? No narrative architecture yet. Adults are expert carpenters of prisons. Every bruise becomes a biography. Every loss a monument. Stop building museums to your pain. Here's the quickest test. If you're explaining your suffering, you're feeding it. If you're feeling it, you're dissolving it. One is spinach for the ego. The other is fire for the illusion. And don't hide behind wisdom. I'm just being mindful. No, you're doing image management. Mindfulness without honesty is vanity in robes. Drop the pose and keep the seeing. You keep waiting for the moment when life stops hurting. It won't, nor should it. Pain is the proof you're not numb. Suffering is the proof you're still bargaining. So end the bargain. No more contracts with reality. No more ultimatums to the present. Let the rain be rain. Let the heart be thunder. You are not the emergency. You are the sky. This is not gentle. It is clean. Stop negotiating with pain. Stand still. Feel everything. Watch what doesn't move in you. That is home. That is the exit. That is the end of the story and the beginning of life without the script. Let's make this clear. Nothing ruins you faster than the need to keep what is already leaving. You call it love or stability or discipline, but it's fear. And fear wears elegant disguises. It wears the face of commitment, of loyalty, of hope. You hold onto a dying thing and call it noble. You cling to an identity that expired years ago and call it integrity. You suffer not because life took something from you, but because you refuse to stop trying to bring it back. Every moment you resist is a moment borrowed from peace. Every what if is interest paid on a debt that doesn't exist. You think you're saving yourself by holding on. You're suffocating. Resistance isn't strength. It's decay in slow motion. It turns what was once alive into memory taxidermy. You can't live and preserve at the same time. Here's the brutal mathematics of the mind. Whatever you grip becomes heavy. Whatever you let go of moves. And only what moves lives. You want to know why anxiety doesn't leave? Because you won't let it finish its sentence. You interrupt every emotion with, "This shouldn't be happening." You censor reality, then complain it isn't speaking to you. Listen, Suffering is not random. It's handwriting. Every pain has your signature at the bottom. You wrote it the moment you said, "Not this." You don't fight the storm because it hurts. You fight it because it ignores you. You can't stand not being in charge, so you name the wind, curse the rain, and mistake rebellion for identity. The truth. Resistance is arrogance wearing fear's perfume. It says, "I know how this should go better than existence itself," and existence just stares back, unimpressed. You don't escape suffering by control. You dissolve it by humiliation, by realizing you were never the author. You were always the page. When you cling, you decay. When you release, you become the river again. And the river doesn't mourn its past shapes. It only moves endlessly, mercilessly, beautifully. That movement is mercy. And your suffering ends the moment you stop trying to edit the flow. You can survive without answers, but the ego won't allow it. It feeds on meaning the way a junkie feeds on chemicals. It doesn't care if the meaning hurts. It only cares that it exists. Pain with a story feels safer than peace without one. That's why you rehearse your tragedies. You polish your heartbreaks until they shine. You replay the betrayal not to heal it, but to stay someone inside it. Who would you be without your pain narrative? Exactly. Silence. And silence terrifies the mind. The mind believes if it stops labeling, it will disappear. So it keeps manufacturing commentary. It takes every moment and brands it with significance. This was meant to happen. This should not have happened. This must mean something. It can't just be, it must mean. And in that endless search for meaning, you become a prisoner of analysis. Every feeling becomes a thesis. Every breath, a negotiation. You dissect life until it stops breathing. You see, meaning is the ego's oxygen. It's not interested in truth. It's interested in survival. And if suffering keeps it alive, it will worship suffering. Watch it closely next time you're hurt. Notice how quickly the narrative appears. Not "my chest hurts, but I'm broken." Not "they left me, but I must be unlovable." The pain lasts seconds. The story lasts years. The mind is addicted to turning wounds into monuments. It needs them to remember it exists. It says, "If I stop defining, I'll vanish." Yes, that's the point. Freedom isn't found in explanation. It's found in evaporation. But meaning addicts panic at the word empty. They think emptiness means nothingness. They don't realize it means everything. A field before the first step, a sky before the first cloud. You think you want enlightenment, you want relief from thinking, you want the end of explanation, but you keep asking for a philosophy instead of silence. Here's the paradox: as long as you seek meaning, you won't see meaning, because meaning is not an object to acquire, it's the light by which everything else is seen. You look for it the way a flashlight looks for brightness. It was never missing, only obscured by commentary. Every time you pause and refuse to narrate the moment, you return to original reality. The mind calls it boring. The soul calls it home. You don't need to find purpose. You need to stop manufacturing substitutes for it. Meaning arises when you're not trying to mine it, like a reflection appearing on still water. The mind cannot rest because rest is its death. It only feels alive when it's explaining, defining, naming, but awareness doesn't need to speak. It just watches, breathing, unmoved. So next time you're desperate to understand, notice the desperation first. That twitch in your thoughts, that's the addiction. Don't feed it another idea, feed it silence. Meaning will appear on its own, but not as words, not as answers, as the quiet recognition that this, right now, was never missing anything. Everyone wants awakening until it starts to hurt, until it starts to dismantle everything that made them feel human. You thought enlightenment would crown you with serenity. Instead, it starts stripping you bare. It takes the comforts first, your illusions of control, your tidy philosophies. Then it comes for your purpose. It whispers, "You don't need one." And suddenly, you're standing in the ruins of everything you thought you were. You think you're breaking down. You're not. You're breaking open. But the opening burns like acid because every layer that peels away was something you once called me. It's a brutal detox, not of substances, but of identity. The mind screams, "Something's wrong." Of course it does. It's dying. You wanted peace, but you wanted to stay the one who found it. And that's the part awakening won't allow. It takes away the finder too. There's no hero left to celebrate the victory. This is the divine cruelty. The closer you get to truth, the more violently the false self resists. The ego doesn't mind talking about awakening. It minds becoming irrelevant. So it plays its last trick. It turns awakening into performance. It says, "Look how detached I am." It wears humility like designer clothing. It posts silence like an achievement. And then, when that illusion collapses, there's just quiet panic. Not because anything is wrong, but because nothing is wrong anymore. And the ego doesn't know how to exist without fixing something. The loss feels unbearable. You lose meaning. You lose drive. You lose the sweet narcotic of progress. It feels like depression, but it's disarmament. You're being emptied of what was never real. You try to pray and no words come. You try to meditate and nothing feels holy. Good. That's the point. You're being detoxed from the need for holiness. The sacred doesn't need to announce itself. It's right here, in the dust on your floor, in the breath you forgot you were taking. You used to chase transcendence. Now transcendence is mocking you because it was never anywhere else. The beauty of failure is that it kills the final lie, that you were ever supposed to win. The ego turns spirituality into a race. It keeps score. Hours meditated, books read, mantras mastered. But awakening erases the scoreboard. You lose ambition not because you're lazy, but because you finally see there was never anywhere to go. The seeker's death is the soul's birth. And that death, that burning collapse, is not punishment, it's precision surgery. Everything false must die screaming so truth can breathe. You'll think you're losing your mind. You're not. You're losing your mirrors. Every reflection that told you who you were, gone. You'll reach for the ground and realize it's gone too. Congratulations. You're finally floating. And yes, it's terrifying, because the sky doesn't come with instructions. But stay, don't flinch. The terror is the threshold. The moment you stop demanding ground, you discover you are what everything stands on. You don't awaken into light. You awaken as light, and everything that claimed to own it burns away like paper in the sun. So if you're collapsing, good. If you feel lost, perfect. You're not failing the process. You are the process. You can't skip the fall. The fall is the flight. The crack is the opening. The end of you is the beginning of what you've always been. When enlightenment breaks you, it's not destroying your life. It's returning it to its rightful owner. If God showed up in thunder and gold, you'd worship him forever. That's why he doesn't. He hides in the mundane, because only there can he watch who truly sees. The divine doesn't crave followers, it craves witnesses. And most people are too busy searching for perfection to notice where perfection has been hiding all along. In the mess, the noise, the imperfection that offends your spiritual aesthetic. You see, you keep trying to ascend, but the truth never lived up there. It's buried in the embarrassment of being human, in the irritation, the boredom, the heartbreak, the dirty dishes, the undone laundry. This is the humiliation of God. He chose to appear as you, not the version you post. The raw, sweating, overthinking, still trying version. The one who says, "I'll never do that again," and does it again anyway. The one who wants peace, but secretly wants attention too. You think enlightenment is the opposite of this mess? It's not. It's the complete acceptance of it. The ego wants to be pure light, but God laughs because light only exists with shadow. You can't worship the sunrise and curse the night that makes it visible. Every failure you've ever tried to hide is an altar. Every contradiction you've tried to resolve is a prayer, because the universe doesn't glorify symmetry. It glorifies tension. Creation needs friction to spark. You want to meet the divine. Look at your impatience. That's where it's hiding. Not behind mantras, not beneath stillness. Right in the twitch that says, "I should be beyond this by now." That voice is your teacher. It's the echo of God pretending to be annoyed. The saints and the sages, they didn't escape their humanity. They drowned in it. They stopped pretending to be pure and became real. They discovered that the holy and the ordinary are the same pulse wearing different clothes. But we counter the clever ones, built temples out of denial. We carved statues of perfection to distract ourselves from the chaos that still lives in our chest. We called our repression discipline. We called our control devotion. We built a religion around the refusal to be raw. And still, beneath all that holiness, the heart whispers, "I want to be messy again." That whisper isn't temptation, it's truth trying to breathe. When you finally let yourself be ordinary, you'll notice something shocking. Ordinary life starts glowing. The sunlight on a chipped cup looks like a revelation. The sound of rain feels like scripture. A stranger's laugh feels like the universe giggling through a mask. Perfection was never the point. Completion was. And completion includes the flaw. The divine hides in imperfection because that's the only place you'd bother to look. You'd never search for God in what you already approve of. You'd only search where you hurt, and that's the riddle. Suffering was always an invitation, a door disguised as failure. When you finally walk through it, you realize the truth was never distant or divine. It was domestic. It was folding laundry. It was losing patience in traffic. It was forgiving someone who never apologized. The humiliation of God is the revelation of you. The collapse of your spiritual vanity, the laughter that follows your self-importance, if that's worship. You want to serve the universe. Then stop polishing your halo and start noticing the dust. Stop trying to escape your humanness. That's where the sacred keeps its secrets, because in the end, enlightenment isn't an escape from the mud. It's realizing the lotus only blooms because of it. At first, awakening feels like climbing. Every new insight feels like progress. Every silence feels like an achievement. But eventually, something starts to shift. You realize the mountain you've been scaling was built by your own mind. And the top, it doesn't exist. There is no summit, just endless ascent, endless becoming, endless exhaustion. You've prayed, meditated, renounced, purified. You've burned every illusion you could find. And when the smoke cleared, you looked around and found another you still standing there, holding the match. The seeker survived the fire. That's the cruelest joke of all, because the seeker doesn't want truth, it wants continuity. It doesn't want peace, it wants progress. It needs something to chase so it doesn't have to die. And when you finally see that, you'll hate it. You'll feel betrayed by every book, every mantra, every teacher, because you'll realize they were all preparing you for one thing, your own disappearance. The seeker dies when there's nothing left to become. When the hunger for awakening burns itself out. When the mind finally whispers, "If not this, then what?" And the answer comes back as silence. That silence isn't empty, it's full. Full of everything you tried to reach through effort. It's the sound of the universe exhaling through you. It's what's left when the chase ends. You stop asking what to do next. You stop trying to hold on to stillness. You stop trying, period. And in that stopping, the truth reveals itself as the only thing that's ever been moving. You realize you never had a life. You were life, moving through itself. The seeker was just a shadow projected by curiosity, and curiosity itself was God trying to remember his own face. This is the death everyone fears, not the loss of breath, but the loss of narrative. No more you to improve, no more journey to finish. Only the raw simplicity of being, the unbearable lightness of nothing left to fix. You will want to go back. The ego will beg for one more lesson, one more riddle, one more task. It will say, "Surely this can't be it," and the silence will laugh softly. It always was. You see, you can't wake up because you were never asleep. The dream was the idea of being separate from what's dreaming. The self was the last illusion, a beautiful one, yes, but only a mask worn by infinity to play pretend. When the mask falls, there's no triumph, no trumpet of realization, just a quiet dissolving. The edges between you and everything blur until there's no edge left. You don't find God. You vanish, and what's left is God everywhere. You don't enter heaven. Heaven enters you. Through the taste of coffee, through the sound of your heartbeat, through the space between one breath and the next. Nothing special happens, yet everything becomes sacred. You can't even say why, because the one who would explain it isn't here anymore. The death of the seeker is not an ending. It's a return to the rhythm that was always playing beneath your questions. The wind still moves, the heart still beats, but there's no you doing either. And somehow, that's the greatest relief, because you finally understand what every sage was trying to tell you. The truth doesn't set you free. It frees itself from you. You don't own it. You don't teach it. You don't become it. You simply stop pretending you were ever separate from it. The seeker wanted awakening as a reward. What it got instead was annihilation, and that annihilation was love. Love so vast it had to erase the one who could measure it. This is what the end looks like. Not angels or halos or revelation, but the unbearable beauty of a world that no longer needs explanation. A hand touches yours, and it's God. A breeze passes your face, and it's God. A tear falls from your cheek, and it's still God. No seeker, no path, no destination. Only this endless unfolding, this quiet perfection hiding in imperfection, this infinite stillness dancing as motion. You don't wake up to reality. You wake up as reality, and suddenly, even death feels like breathing. Even silence feels like music. Even the void feels like home. The seeker dies, and what remains is the one who was never born, watching, smiling, shining through every form, whispering through every breath, saying only this: "Welcome back, you were never gone."